One that I'll want to talk about, Riddhi, can we move to the next slide? Is supply chain and logistics. One of the things which is very important that the world has realized is the way we were dependent on the supply chain and logistics till now. The pandemic has created a very unique challenge for us because countries which were dependent heavily on uh, supply of material, and with supply chains broken, it's become a unique and first time challenge for the entire world as to how do you keep the world supplied with everything that they need. And everybody is talking about a new order that will emerge in terms of how supply chain and logistics will operate going forward. So there will be significant new ways people will look at it, new mechanisms will be devised. There will be a local development of supply chain infrastructure, which will be different from what it is today. So that will be an area which will be a significant area of opportunity and career for a lot of people. So that's another one that if you are interested in, you should try and build some skills here or do a course or get familiar with this area. And this can give you a significant opportunity going forward. The next one, as we are seeing a lot of changes that are required in the post-pandemic work, everything needs to change, right? There has to be new processes, there has to be new technologies, there has to be new infrastructure that will need to be developed. And all of this to make happen, manufacturing facilities are coming up at different locations where they were not existing earlier to beat the kind of challenges that we faced. All of this will require, over the next 3 to 5 years, capabilities in project management to just ensure that all of this can come about. We can get this ready, we can make things happen. And project management as a skill will be in demand. And you should also be looking at, if you're interested in this skill area, as a career opportunity going forward. Another one that we can look at as a next area of skill is consulting. Now, many companies are looking at moving work from full-time employees to gig workers. And gig work is going to become very, very significantly big. And that's the area that my company does a lot of work in. We are helping a lot of companies in finding gig workers who can come in, deliver work at a cheaper cost, and also bring more expertise to be able to support them with all of this change that they need to bring about in the way they work. So the future of work that we used to talk about has just been advanced significantly because of this pandemic. And everybody is trying to bring about changes. So change management is an area which everybody will need support on. Leadership is an area that a lot of people will need new skills on, So efficiency enhancement is something that everybody is looking at. So all of this will create a lot of opportunity in the consulting field where people can come in, work on a gig model, support companies in bringing about higher efficiencies and move out. So consulting is an area that everybody may want to look at as an area of opportunity. So the next one that we will look at is, while we are looking at some of the areas which are only being impacted by the pandemic, there are other areas which are also coming about as emerging areas. And everybody is getting concerned about different things than what we used to be earlier. Green energy has been an area that has been talked about a lot. There has been some work that has happened. And going forward, I think there will be a lot more traction and a significant spurt that we'll see in everywhere, every country utilizing more green opportunities, or in manufacturing, in transport, in everything that we do. So there there will be a lot of opportunities that people may want to look at. So if it is solar power or hydropower, wherever there is a possibility, or even batteries as a source of power. So storage of energy is going to be another area that is going to significantly ramp up in the coming areas. So green energy sector and all the skills required to help companies in that sector will be very big. So you may want to explore possibilities there. The other area, other than green energy sector, will be environment and sustainability. Companies now will have no choice. There will be a lot of movement from the governments, from policy-making bodies. Uh, they will have to invest heavily in moving from polluting processes to cleaner and safer work practices. Uh, there has been a lot of work that has already happened in this area, but there is lots that still needs to be done. And hopefully this pandemic will push us to work at a faster pace, and it will again create a lot of opportunities. We have seen a lot of interest in recent times. In the last 6 months, there has been a lot of demand for environment and sustainability kind of resources that have come to us from various companies. So there is a definite movement that has happened. May or may not be only because of the pandemic, but yes, there seems to be a trigger. We are seeing more traction in this area as well. So learn about this. There are now new courses also available around this. So you may want to read up, train up, and get certification in this area. And you can also work a lot in the social sector, which is also becoming significantly large, and not just in the corporate sector through this particular area. Uh, the last one that I'll want to talk about is recycling and waste management. So in the last few years, what has happened is that we are all struggling all over the world with the mounting load of waste that we are generating, which is choking up everything. So our seas are getting choked up, our rivers are getting choked up, our land is full of so much of trash, plastic, uh, e-waste, all of this. So many countries have started these initiatives and trying to move towards zero waste and utilizing recycling initiatives. And you would see, even in your regular day-to-day items that you're buying, recyclable material. This is again an area which we've just touched a little bit upon. So going forward, again, this will be a very big area that the entire world will have to focus on to create a more sustainable environment for us to live in and for our future generations. So these are the areas that I thought I will talk about. Riddhi, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer specific questions from the audience or from you at this point in time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lokhotia, for sharing your valuable advice and insights with us on the subject. I'm sure our friends listening here are feeling more informed about the various fields, careers, and industries that are likely to grow and pan out post the pandemic. As of now, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute your microphones and ask us. Just a minute, I'll check. All right, since we don't have many questions at the moment, we'll proceed with the Q&A round towards the end. And before moving on to the next speaker, I would like to iterate the steps to avail the e-certificate once again. Attend the full webinar. Once you see thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to the Google Attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback form emailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on your mail for the details and follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically mailed to you. So our second speaker for the evening is Miss Reena Ahuja. Miss Reena Ahuja is a founder partner and director of people management practice at Smart Head Consulting. With over 2 decades of experience in management roles in multinational corporations, She has helped professionalize HR functions, institutionalize policies and procedures with organization transformation and change management at Smart Head Consulting. She has extensive experience in strategic business management with a focus on efficiency enhancement, talent and capability building, and management amongst other operations. Miss Reena, could you please proceed with the session?
Thank you, Riddhi. Um, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. I think the previous presentation was quite elaborate. There were a lot of things that you heard from Mr. Sanjay, and I feel that if there was more time, then he could have probably elaborated much of what has been mentioned as only bullet points. But what I did see is, and I'm sure all of you did, is that there is going to be a plethora of options available as you move forward from this current phase into what we see as the post-pandemic phase. So when we talk about post-pandemic, I'm sure it's about a time when Vriddhi, can I share my screen instead of this the presentation that you've put up? Okay, never mind. Because I think there's been some formatting that's been done to the presentation and it's looking a little different from how I had actually made it out to be. But never mind. So when we talk about the pandemic, I think it's still virulent. There is some sign of abatement, but we have a long way to go before things begin to look somewhat normal, somewhat what we've been used to for the past so many years. And what we do see still is that for many months to come, we are probably going to be more indoors than outdoors, and perhaps doing pretty much what we are or what we have been doing in the last 10 months, keeping ourselves safe, protected, and trying to see how best we can adapt to what we call the new normal. Vidhi, can you go to the next slide, please? Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So when we look at what has changed in the last 10 months, I think we have really gone through so many things that were not what we were used to. Our social habits have changed, what we eat, the kind of stuff that we eat, and how and it's prepared and where we procure it from, that's changed. How we keep ourselves engaged other than work has changed tremendously. We've seen how students from junior school, nursery to even people who are doing their research have had to adapt to a very different way of learning and attending classes. A sense of hygiene, I think, has, especially in India, has gone a tremendous change because what we used to pride ourselves on about eating everything off the streets and being very immune to everything has possibly been turned absolutely on its head. Our dressing habits definitely have changed because we're more indoors. Uh, a lot of times it's very funny because I've seen people get up from presentations with being very well dressed from as much as can be viewed on the camera. Uh, and definitely, since we aren't going out as much, so that's changed. Our relationships have changed. We're more with parents at home. We're more with our siblings, with pets. We're probably closer to nature because we have got the time now instead of running after uh, trying to reach office or battling traffic jams. Shopping habits definitely have moved. Our fitness routines. I mean, this list could go on and on and on and on. I could, you could add many. I could add even more, and which means that there's been a lot of things that are very new, and and that's something that is going to open up a lot of opportunities. So what we're looking at, what would happen, you know, uh, post pandemic. Many, it still seems very far away, maybe a few